What is up, everyone? It's Ollie here from El-Gorr.com, again coming at you with a very special video today. How to write Kindle book descriptions that sell, part 1. Originally it was going to be one very long video, but as I mapped everything out on my laptop I realized that it would probably be over an hour long, so we're actually going to do multiple parts. So before we get into it, do book descriptions matter? And for a lot of people that I've spoken to, publishers successful in their own right, they have agreed with me that this is actually the most undervalued part of the entire publishing process. Because think about it from a publisher's point of view, you've put all this effort into your book content, you've probably gone through multiple covers before you found one that you're happy with, you've looked up the keywords, that may have taken you hours, that may have taken you months, who knows. But then you get to the actual, okay, I'm going to publish it now stage. You go on Amazon, then you see you've got to write a book description. Oh God, book description, what am I going to write about? So you fill something in, it takes you about 5 minutes, and then you click publish, and you're finally done with the book, and you're so happy. But then you're like, why is it not selling? And it's probably because you've neglected this part. So let's get into it. Most undervalued part of the entire publishing process. So let's talk about what you've probably been focusing on. Obviously your keywords, they are important, don't get me wrong. If no one can find your book on Amazon, then you can't sell it. Pretty simple, right? Book title, you've got to have a catchy book title. If you don't have a catchy book title, probably people aren't going to click on it. Book cover, once again, if you don't have a good book cover, people probably aren't going to click on your book. And then we have the information inside your book, which is, the part you've been working on for a long time. That actually doesn't matter at all for the sales process, because apart from that look inside button on Amazon, they can't actually see what's in the book until they buy it. And notice that none of these 4 actually make the sale. They lead the buyer along the journey, so obviously they are important, but they don't actually make the sale. Let's think about this in a slightly different light. And let's think about what your book description really is. And it's where you convert browsers to buyers. Think about buying a car for a second. You don't just see a car commercial and then go and buy a car the next day. That's not how it works. That's not how the buyer's journey works at all. How it really works is that you see a car commercial, you're like, oh, that car's pretty cool. You're probably going to see multiple commercials for that car. If you're on the internet and you've been clicking on, Ford ads, then you're going to be retargeted, you're going to be shown more Ford ads. So you get, a lot of awareness about the product. You start looking up some information online about it, the technical specifications maybe. Then you actually end up going to the dealership to look at the car in person, and that's when you meet the friendly car salesman. You don't buy the car without the salesman. There's going to be a few people like, no, I do this directly. Most of the time, most customers buy the cars with the help or because of the salesman. And that is what your book description is. You're not merely describing your book here. Your book description is the salesman for your book. It's just the salesman in print because it's written word. Understanding your market is the most important part of all. But it's the part a lot of people completely skip over. This is the be-all end-all of your book description, because you can write the most fantastic, emotionally enticing copy in the world, but if you've missed what your market really wants, then, no one's going to buy your book. If no one wants what you're selling, you're not going to sell anything. Pretty simple. And if you understand your market better than your competition, you will win. That applies to every business in the world ever, because you can just simply sell them what they want. Simplest business model ever. Simplest business model ever. And yet, a lot of people don't think this way. Authors, if you're an author, and if you've written your own book, you should probably already understand the market. And if you don't, then your book's probably not very good. Sorry. Publishers or people who are outsourcing the publishing process, get ghostwriters to write your book. You need to do customer research. And this is real research, so we're basing what we're writing about on facts. We're not just guessing. You cannot make assumptions about your market. As soon as you start making assumptions, you're no longer relying on facts now. You're letting your personal biases creep in. You're getting preconceived notions about what people want. That's creeping in as well. You're not actually speaking to people anymore. You're speaking at people now. You're giving them your view instead of just reinterpreting their views. You can't make logical statements. You can't sell with logic. It doesn't work. Everyone logically knows what they need to do to get results. Think about weight loss for a second. People in the weight loss market, they know they need to lose weight. And to be honest, they probably know how to do it. But if you just put a book out there and say, hey, this is a weight loss book, it will tell you to eat less and move more, that's not going to sell. It's just pure logic. It's not going to work. Same with making money on the internet, another huge market. Logically, it's, people should learn a valuable skill and then charge people money for that. But you're not going to sell any make money online products by doing that. I'll speak a little bit more on this why later in the video. You got to remember here, these are real people you're talking to here. They have real emotions. They've got real problems. And they're crying out for a solution. They want help. If you're in non-fiction, that's really what you're selling. You're selling solutions to problems. You're not selling books. The book is just the medium in which the solution is transferred to them. But you're really selling solutions to problems. And a lot of people like to completely miss this. They think, okay, it's a book. I'm going to sell a book about this. But no. You're selling a solution. And as soon as you start thinking like that, you will automatically start positioning your books better. You will automatically start writing better book descriptions, and you'll automatically start getting more sales. When you research your customers, what are you looking for? Well, obviously I just mentioned it, their problems. Also how they talk about their problems. What is the language that they use? Different markets have different language. Different subsections of the market have different language. For example, if you're selling fitness books, you will use different language when selling to men than you would selling to women, because they talk about their problems and they talk about what they need in different words. So it's important to note this down. There's also a bunch of things you should be looking for about your customers. I mean, their enemies. Who do these people dislike? Their hopes. What is it that they really want from their future? Their dreams. What does their ideal life look like? That's always a good question to ask yourself about your customers. What is their ideal life going to be like? Not just after they've bought your particular book, just in general, because it helps you discover what really makes them tick. Another thing, their fears. If you read a lot of copywriting blogs, you'll see that there's two main emotions that people have, hope and fear. And fear is one that a lot of people don't think about. Fear can actually be more powerful than hope, and a lot of times is. So it's important to know your market's fears and your customers' fears. Another thing, their insecurities. Everyone's got insecurities. Everyone has things they're not completely comfortable with in their life, things they don't necessarily like about themselves. These are things you can tap into when crafting a book description. Elements every book description must have. There's 3, and this is not a formula, because a lot of these videos, they say, okay, you need to use this formula, you need to use this formula, you need to use AIDA, or you need to use problem, agitate, solution, or you need to use the 4 C's formula. But if you have no context for that, these are acronyms, these formulas, they don't really mean anything. So instead of focusing on particular formulas, because there's more than one way that works, just focus on these 3 for now. Curiosity, emotional appeal, and urgency. If your book description has all 3 of these things, it's automatically going to be better than, at a guess, 95% of the books on Amazon. Probably 97, 98. Because most books on Amazon have terrible descriptions, like really bad. And it's the books that have good descriptions, they're the ones making the bulk of the sale. It's very rare that you will see a book that's selling really well that has a bad description. The only time this happens is if it's just a famous book in general. You know, like Harry Potter. The description for Harry Potter could be, this is a story about a wizard, and it would still sell tons of copies because there's, you know, so much outside influence there that whatever they write on the description page doesn't matter. But chances are, if you're watching this video, you don't have that kind of authority. So that's why you need a good book description. Let's talk about curiosity now. Gary Halbert, if you don't know who Gary Halbert is, he was widely considered the best copywriter ever. He had a very successful self-publishing business actually, which I believe, I'm saying believe because I'm not 100% certain, he sold for over $100 million at one point. Curiosity, Gary found out, was the single most powerful selling tool. In all the ads that he wrote, and he wrote a lot of ads, the ones with the most curiosity were the ones that sold best. Putting this back in a book perspective, if your readers have no desire to know what's inside your book, they won't buy it. They just won't. This is especially true in 2018 when there's more free information online than ever before. People can reasonably find a lot of these solutions for their problems for free. It's just a fact of life. There's so many blogs, there's so many YouTube videos. They can spend enough time searching, they'll find a solution. This isn't like the 90s anymore, where there just wasn't that much information on the internet. Or pre-internet, when honestly people didn't know a lot of things. Like there's a really famous ad in the 60s for how to repair your own television. That ad made millions and millions of dollars selling a little book on how to repair your own TV, because TV repair was really expensive and a lot of people didn't know how to do it. Now you just, go on Samsung's website, you look up the manual and you can do it yourself. So if your readers have no desire to know what's inside, they won't buy your book. And the problem is, a lot of authors and writers, they just tell people exactly what is inside the book in the description section on Amazon. What I said before, your book description is not merely describing your book. Couple of examples on the screen right now. Keto diet. You say this is a book about the keto diet and this is a way to lose weight without eating carbs, etc, etc, etc. Same thing, dog training. This is a book about how to train your Labrador because a well-trained dog will make your life easier. Great. People already know that. That doesn't make them think, oh God, yeah, this book is what it's all about. And don't forget, you're competing with a lot of other books often. Most niches you're in, especially if you're in any good non-fiction niche, there's going to be competition. So just think about this. You have to use curiosity inside your book description. Emotional appeals. Why are these important? Because this is how we buy things. We buy based on emotion, then justify with logic afterwards. Logically, everyone knows to achieve something, they have to put in a certain amount of sacrifice. Where emotion comes in is where people believe that the option you are offering them, in this case your book, they want to believe that this option involves less sacrifice than the logical option. Give you an example again, going back to weight loss. Logically, people know to lose weight they have to eat less and move more, and they have to do that consistently. But they want to believe that there is some sort of magical formula that will allow them to still eat a lot and not move that much and still lose weight. And that's why a lot of all these diets, like whatever fad diet is popular right now, because people believe it's a shortcut. People believe they have to make less sacrifice. Appealing to their emotions rather than the logical part of their brain. The other part is humans, we're irrational creatures. The duality of man. I'm not going to get too philosophical now because otherwise the video could be 7 hours long. But we've all got positive and negative sides to us. We all have a wide array of emotions. I talked earlier about hope and fear. Hope is a very positive emotion. Fear, a very negative emotion. But oftentimes you'll need to appeal to both of those things in order to write a book description that sells. And the third thing that every single book description needs to have, regardless of niche, regardless of whatever your market is urgency. Why your book and why now? That now part is the most important here, because customers can very easily close the tab. It's very, very easy for them not to buy. So you have to give them a reason to buy right now. And the most obvious thing to do here is, include a call to action, which is simply saying, hey, if you want this book, get it now. Obviously, it's a bit more nuanced than that, and I'll go into that in a future video, but the most basic thing you can do is include a call to action in your book description. A couple of other ways you can use urgency. First one, this is a finance example. This, stock price, cryptocurrency. Hey, remember cryptocurrency? Wasn't that popular? This stock price, this cryptocurrency, this, whatever gold investment is cool lately, this price won't stay low for long. That's urgency. You have to act now. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on the, gigantic profits you could be making. Going back to the dog training example I used earlier. Every day you aren't training your dog properly using whatever method you have inside your book, you're reinforcing bad behavior. And that's going to be terrible for your dog in the long term. And so you see where the urgency comes in. They have to buy your book and they have to buy it now. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed, why not? Subscribe and stay tuned for part 2, because part 2 I'll be discussing the actual mechanics of writing a book description. But in the meantime, if you need something right now, if you need another dopamine hit today, go to that website, El-Gorr.com. It's also the link in the description. And I will give you a free copy of 7 Deadly Self-Publishing Sins. That's my book. And it's 7 common mistakes that beginners make and how you can avoid them. So take care, and I'll see you for part 2.